Hello, hello, hello. Hi, how are you? How are you doing this wonderful afternoon? I believe that you are good and God has kept you and you're fine and you're keeping, safe, social distancing as much as you can, and you are still washing your hands. Yes, I hope so. So thank you very much for joining me. For those who are online, I hope that you are getting me loud and clear. Thank you very much for joining me this wonderful afternoon. Actually, this day, I'm so happy that you've joined me actually, and this day has been those days that the weather is kind of warm, kind of it's cold, and I'm thinking, should I not? You want to rest a bit, you just want to relax. But then, when you have a task to do, you just try and make sure that you have done it. You have done it. And so I hope I'm still recording for those who will not be able to get it live. Yeah, yeah, my recording is set. So now today we're supposed to speak about mental health. All right. So and we were supposed to have a guest on set, and maybe due to different circumstances here and there, she couldn't make it, but we are here and I'm going to take you through it. Don't worry. So with me, you get it correct. And then I want to introduce myself, and I say that I'm Sarah Kibazo and I'm the founder of My Journey, and I am a mother and I'm a wife and I'm a coach and a trainer, and I specifically deal with children's sexuality, mostly parents. I deal with parents on how to talk to their kids regarding their children's sexuality. And I also do mentorship for young people, especially teenagers. All right. And today we are going to talk about mental health, and we're going to go straight on it. If you're watching us as a recording, just display, just write, give us a comment and say replay, and it will be a thumbs up. And please ask any question you have, and write a comment. If it's too sensitive, you can DM me, and I'll be able to help you. All right, so thank you very much. So we are going to go straight ahead on that, and this is what I'm going to say. So mental health is actually one of those sectors in our health system that is not so much taken care of, and awareness is not so much created about it. And I decided to do mental health talk with regard to children's sexuality because I realized, or rather, it came to my attention that there are so many people who are undergoing mental issues that are not, diagnosed, or they have not sought for help, or rather, even they themselves don't know that they are going through some kind of mental issues. And when you talk about mental health, we are not talking about, when you see someone has maybe, gone crazy and or gone mad, and maybe they are walking out there naked or something like that. We're not talking about that kind of a situation, though it is in the mix. But here we are talking about a parent who, in one way or another, has mental issues that are not well diagnosed. Okay, and I want to give you a short story. I just read it the other day on on Facebook. There's this camera, it just confuses me. I don't know if I'm touching left or right. Anyway, so there's a lady who wrote the other day on Facebook about another lady whom she met in the restaurant, and this lady was actually with an elderly man. They walked in the restaurant where she was, and looking at this girl, she realized this girl is so uncomfortable walking with this man. And looking at it, you'd mistake them, or rather you would just conclude a father-daughter walk, but uh, this lady who was writing this, as she looked at them closely, she realized this lady looks like she's not comfortable with being with this man. So what she did, she decided to, I want to help you. I want to get into the life of this lady in one way or another. And so she just did a note, and then she sent it to the lady through the nurse. Okay, I mean, not through the nurse, through the waitress in the restaurant. Okay, so she took the note to the lady, and then she asked the lady if they can meet outside for a little talk. And the lady, the lady agreed, and they met. So when they met, so she asked the lady, okay, why are you behaving like this? You look like you're not comfortable we the way you are. So the girl was like, I don't know how she okay, she got to a point this lady could pour out her heart to this friend who is writing this story. And so she's told the lady that, you know what, this man, my mom actually connected me with him so that I can lay with him, maybe have a sexual affair with him to pay a certain debt. Okay, to pay a certain debt. Let's leave it there because I'm gonna come to it back. And then when we talk about mental health, all right, when we talk about mental health, what we are saying is that many parents suffer from mental disorders at different degrees. Okay, and as I've said, it's not a matter of someone walking outside naked or something like that, but many parents are suffering from mental disorders from us at different degrees, and they do not seek for support either because they do not know that they are suffering from mental issue, or it's because maybe they're shy about it. Okay, and so and also because sometimes dealing with mental disorders issues, they can be very expensive. It can be very expensive. So it is an unfortunate circumstance. It is very unfortunate circumstance. And you see, like we had this time of COVID. Okay, and many parents lose jobs. Many parents maybe lose their livelihood in one way or another. And here you are, you still have bills to pay, you still have children to take care of. Sorry, excuse me. You still have children to take care of, you still have all those baggages on you. And many parents suffered from stress. Yes, they did. And stress is one of the mental disorders we are talking about today. So when they suffered from stress, you find that some of them, they became even too, you're so busy looking for way to sort out your kids, looking for way to sort out things. You're so busy, and you see now you are already under stress. So what are you trying to display to your children? Sometimes you don't know it, but actually you're displaying habits that affect your own children. And when you are under this kind of stress, definitely, how do you even get to talk about sexuality talks with your kids? Actually, it hinders you from talking. And when it hinders you from talking, some of the habits that you will display to your kids are like aggressiveness. You just become very aggressive, maybe to your kids, maybe to your spouse, maybe to people around you. You're hot tempered. Some people can end up even abusing drugs, taking alcohol and so on. And I'm not saying that those ones have been brought by only COVID and stress, but you might find that people who have this kind of habits, even before their kids were born, they were just abusing alcohol, they're abusing maybe drugs, maybe they are smoking cigars and so on. Maybe they are violent. Okay, they become violent either verbally, physically, even sexually. And they have poor dieting. Okay, and they can even, there are people who end up to be incarcerated, like maybe they go to jail. Okay, they're accused of criminal activities and so on. Someone there's a poor communication in the family, and maybe someone can even go to an extent of becoming mentally retarded. And so this kind of disorders find themselves inside the family. When they find themselves inside the family, what happens? Definitely, there is no relationship with the children. There is no good relationship with the children. Now, and you will find it even very hard to talk to your own kids regarding sexuality. Why? Because sometimes, either in your past, you were a victim of that sexuality that is even bringing about this kind of disorders that you're displaying, or because maybe even at that point you are even becoming sexually abusive, okay, either to your spouse or to people around you. So how do you even start to talk about sexuality issues with your kids when you are in this kind of a state? okay, it becomes difficult. Today I just want us to recognize, just open your eyes to recognize, to see the things that are being displayed in the family setup or in our community. And maybe next time I'm going to take you through maybe how we are going to mitigate this kind of thing. So according to the story I gave you, okay, you will realize that sometimes you may judge a person, okay, on the habits that they are displaying. You may judge them on the habits they are displaying. Maybe you may judge them because they are too drunkard, or maybe they are too, what do we call them? Maybe they are too abusive, or they cannot communicate well. This is someone you cannot hold a discussion with, or they're so hot tempered, and you can just judge them and say, you're always like this, you always do things like this, and most of the times we don't look at them, at the underlying factors, at the underlying factors. Now, like this young girl, you would find her doing such kind of a thing, and then you're like, oh, she's just promiscuous. Maybe the parents are not taking good care of her well. You may end up judging this girl, okay, or she's after money, all she wants is just to sleep with men and get money. Oh, these young people nowadays, they don't want to work hard. But really, you're not looking at the root cause of the problem, because looking at it now, this girl comes to display what is happening in the family levels, what is happening back at home is what is actually causing her to behave like this. All right. You can just breathe in and breathe out and relax. Just be with me. I'm here. I'm your pilot for today. And you can just grasp a cup of water if you have it, or coffee or tea, whatever you can have. Just bite it. Yeah. So thank you very much. Last year, I got involved in a campaign that we were doing with some friends on sex for pads. And when we got a closer, a closer connection with the girls who were having sex for pads, especially in our urban slums, we came to realize that it's mostly because of what they're suffering at home. Why are they having sex to get pads? It's because this girl has come home and she's telling the mom or the dad that, what, I'm sorry about my internet. It looks shaky, yeah? Yeah, but sorry, yeah? I hope we're still getting each other. Just give me a thumbs up if you can still hear me. And so these girls, you realize that they back at home, the parents are not giving them the basic needs, and it's not the parents' fault. It's maybe because of what, maybe the kind of economic situation their parents are facing, which is understandable. But again, you realize, if as a parent, if a parent is going through this kind of economic challenge, how do they display it to their children? How do they help their children, also be resilient and avoid a situation whereby they will sell their bodies to get their basic needs? The parents cannot be able to take the kid to that level because of the mental effect that this situation has had on them. That is why we are talking about mental health with parenting, especially on sexuality matters today. All right. Good. So children who are raised in such environments, okay, with people maybe who, with people of this kind, people who are displaying this kind of habits that I've mentioned to you. I've mentioned aggressiveness, I've mentioned maybe they're hot-tempered, maybe they're abusing drugs or some kind of substance, maybe they're sexually violent, or they're physically abusive, or they're verbally abusive, poor dieting, and there's so many things they can display. Such kids, most of the time they will display, all right, they will display the kind of environment they come from, because in one way or another, they developed a mechanism to defend themselves from the violence, from the situations back in the family unit. So some of the things that they would display, because they feel insecure, they display this kind of habits to be as a mode of survival. They're just there are types who may be, they may be, probably they just want to fit in another environment, okay, that is you know, less violent than where he comes from. But he has already developed a mechanism whereby he realizes that, you know, the world is not a safe place. People are not safe, people are not kind enough. So definitely they have developed a, you know what, a block system, like they've put a wall. This is the far you can come with me. And if you dare come more closer, this is what you will, you know, you will get from me. So this kind of kids, what mostly they display, they're the kids who some most of the time they become the bullies. You know, when it is in the school, they become the bullies. And these kids can become sexually active at a very early age. Okay, kids who come from such kind of families, they can become sexually active at a very early age. These kids getting themselves into early teenage pregnancy is not rare. It is something that can happen very easily. These kids become very violent. Okay, they're the kids who most of the time become suicidal. Okay, they're the kids who are depressed. They're the kids who are ever sickly. All right, they're the kids who engage themselves in risky behaviors, even stealing, you know, those kinds of things. They can engage themselves in risky relationships. Okay, even getting themselves into gang groups and so on. And these kids facing imprisonment is most likely on them. Okay, they can face imprisonment because either they have stolen from someone, they have violently hurt someone, you know, or you know, such kind of things. Or these kids suffering from premature death is very most likely on them. Okay, and you cannot blame them because it is the environment where they're coming from. So that is why I'm talking to you as a parent today, to look at yourself and see, what is it that I am displaying to my children? And they may not be displaying those kind of things that I'm telling you here, like there will be bullies, they will be sexually active. They may not display it to you, but they may display it in another environment. And if they're not displaying it to you, maybe they're still young. Okay, and one thing I will tell you, I want to tell you just now, is that, you know, a child's brain develops much earlier in their life. Okay, at 2 years, a child's brain has developed like 80% of it as fully developed. And at that point, at 2 years, they grasp a lot of things, especially in their environment. They understand that this environment is safe or unsafe. So if this child is born in an environment whereby people are maybe abusing drugs, people are talking to each other, shouting, and you know, people are just constantly violent, they develop this kind of mechanism earlier in their life. At by the time they're at 5 years, they've already, you know, they're somehow even displaying that kind of what do we call it, that kind of um defensive mechanism. They're already displaying it because they developed it at 2 years when they couldn't do anything, and already that is formed in their mind. You know what, this world is a very unsafe place, it's a very insecure place, so I have to come with my own mechanism of survival. All right. So at when they get to teenage levels, okay, now they become even worse, aggressive, depressed, you know, they become suicidal. Here they are, you know, engaging in sex, you know, having relationship, funny relationships here and there. They are the kids who are demanding, you know, they're demanding some things that you as a parent, you look at and you're like, what? Okay. At that stage, I had a scenario with a parent the other day, and she was telling me that the daughter was demanding a camera. And this girl was around, I think, in Form 2. And the camera she was demanding, you know, is a camera, you know, being used in studios. A Form 2. Where are you going with this whole camera? But you see, when you look at their life, or when you look at the way this girl has been brought up, she's been brought up in a manner that, you know, anything she asks is given. So at an early stage, she realized that, you know what, this place, I can demand anything and it comes. And it comes. So when they get to teenage and they realize, oh, there are better things to demand, because, you know, when they're young, they're just demanding sweets, popcorns, ice creams. So now when they get to teenage and they realize, man, I can demand shoes from I don't know where, they will demand. they will demand it. So you realize those are things that were instilled in them at an early age. Okay, at an early age. And in the next training, I'll be showing you how you actually display. How do you you are already aggressive, you're already hot tempered, or you're already abusing alcohol, or you are already in a certain kind of stress. So how do you display it to your child? Because sometimes you may not be violent to them, you may not be violent to them, or you may not be that aggressive to them. Okay, but there's a way you can display stuff to them. You can display, there's a way you display yourself that makes them realize that where I am, I need to defend myself. Okay, so that will be in the next training. For today, I just want you to open up your mind and see how mental disorders can actually affect our parenting. I was just looking at my at my time. So how mental disorders can actually affect our parenting, especially when it comes to sexuality talks. All right. So early stages in life. I have talked about early stages in life, like in 2 years or so, and we have seen how this kind of things can affect a child as early as 2 years. So the saddening part is that most parents, they display these things, okay, and they display them to their children without them being aware. Okay, and they're not even aware how these things are affecting their children. And many cases of these parents, many times these parents don't get the required support that they need. And when they don't get that required support that they need, remember, they're already rearing a kid, okay, who is kind of mentally disturbed. So what will happen if this child is also not not supported well? This child will end up displaying the same behaviors the parents were displaying when they become adults. And so when they become adults, they will continue displaying this kind of behavior. Maybe it is alcoholism, maybe it is maybe risky relationship, maybe is crime. They will continue displaying it even to their own children. So this cycle continues. Continues in the family. Okay, so this we shall talk about how to mitigate this kind of habits in the family. We shall talk about them next week on Thursday. And next week on Thursday, we'll also have another live. And on that live, I want to just take you through what I'll be talking about in the next live on Thursday. I will be letting you know ways in which our mental disorders as parents can be displayed towards our children. I've told you about that. And I'll also be giving you ways in which we can mitigate these kind of disorders in our own selves, in the people around us, maybe your spouse, maybe your neighbors, maybe your friends. How can you mitigate them so that they do not affect the children? And what if the children are already in that family or are already displaying that kind of disorder? What if they're already displaying that kind of disorder? If they're already displaying that kind of disorder, we shall talk about how to help them out. What are the support mechanisms that we can help the children with? And the same, we shall also talk about how to help the parents who are already in that situation. And also, we shall help you to realize how your mental soberness can help us bring out children who are safe in our society today. Okay, our mental our mental soberness, how it can help us raise children who are in our society today. So that's about it from me today. That's all about it from me today. We have not gone for 1 hour because talking can really eat you up. So I'll just display. I'll just give you that for today. I know and I hope that you have gotten something from it, and I believe that it's from what we have learned today, you are going to look at yourself critically. It is possible to look at yourself critically. It is also possible to have someone who can look at you and tell you, you know what, where you're going or whatever you're doing is displaying this kind of a thing to to our children or to children to the people you're living around. All right, so we shall talk about that next week. I don't want to get into it. I just want to end there. So if you have any question, you can just post it. I think I could have had like 5 minutes or so, but I want to end it there because today I was just giving you, just a display of what I'll be talking about when it comes to mental health. All right. So we have talked about how a parent can display them, and we have talked about how a child can react towards them. So next week we shall talk about the mechanism to support, okay, someone who is in it, and to support the children who may get into it in future. So thank you very much. I've been your host, Sarah Kibazo, and I am happy that you have been with me. So may God bless you and keep you. May we, raise our children, because that has always been my desire, that we will raise children who are sober and who are able to make, responsible decisions when it comes to their sexuality. When we talk about sexuality, I've always told you that we are not talking about only sex, but we are talking about a person in totality. We are talking about relationships that they can come across. We're talking about how they look at themselves, if they love themselves, if they don't love themselves. We are looking at, how they think of love, especially when they're relating with the opposite sex, and so on. We're talking about so many things: their relationship with you as a parent, their relationship with themselves, with their minds, with their bodies, and so on. So that's it from me. Apart from that, we have a support group we have formed a support group for my journey. If you want to be part of that support group, it's a support group for parents, and we have also a support group for children, for teenagers. So if you want to be part of it, you can DM me. Okay, DM me, and I'm going to, to help you get into one. And also you can email me on my journey, my courage. That's my email, my email, my journey, my courage at gmail.com. You can always email me on that. Then I'll be able to fix you in a group that is a supporting group, where you can be able to interact with other parents and learn so many other things that I try to train you here. And also, we're looking forward to a Zoom lesson anytime soon. We will start our Zoom classes on in March. So you know what? You need to just keep it here, keep it here. Yeah, like our pages, follow us, and be part of my journey, my courage group. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, and support this program, because I know in one way or another it is affecting your life in one way or another. Support it, share it out, and talk about it. Yeah. May God bless you so much. Have a good afternoon. Thank you, and bye bye.